Howdy, Internet. I'm Jack of Hearts.
And I'm the Eris1999.
And this week we are reviewing the Mongolian Deathworm attack for Monster of the Week.
So, Monster of the Week is a tabletop role-playing game where the players are paranormal investigators with awesome power. We did, or I suppose will do, an in-depth analysis of it on my channel, depending on when this video comes out. What you need to know for right now about Mauto, M-O-T-W, so I like to call it, is that it's a narrative-focused RPG system that's based around 3d6 instead of the d20. Players use these rolls along with their character bonuses to do all sorts of awesome stuff. The focus is less on the mechanics of how things get done in a game sense and more on what makes sense for a given scene. To compound with this, the game master, or keeper, never rolls himself, but rather just responds based on what he deems appropriate for the player's action.
The module is only 4 pages, which makes it easier to read for game masters, but keepers might have to improvise. But it's just meant to be a framework for mystery adventures that keepers with 1 or more players can use. However, from here on out, I will be spoiling said adventure, so players don't watch this, or else Cthulhu will come down to your bedroom at night and eat you. It will suck a lot. It happened to me once. Don't ask how. Oh, but if you're a game master or wants to run Monster of the Week, send them on over here, and we'll help them out.
But you know what, players? If you're leaving anyway, hop on over to my channel where we're going to talk about how to actually play while your keeper learns about how to run the adventure. Okay, everyone out who wants to get out? The monster of this week is the Mongolian Deathworm. It can shoot poison and lightning. We, or I suppose specifically Jack, didn't use the lightning when we played through it because I guess he's saving it for a different monster that he may or may not use. Wait, what do you mean by that? Please tell me that means in-game. Why is this line in the script?
Dr. Kelly Morganson smuggled them here somehow from the Gobi Desert, where she went on an expedition to study wildlife. My player asked me what was in the Gobi Desert, so be prepared for that. Another thing I missed was how they die. They will die if exposed to the cold or the wet. So they like the climate hot and the temperature high. The temperature high and climate cold. So they're having trouble thinking of a solution on how to kill them, and just have them make an intelligence roll to turn down the museum's AC. That way they will freeze them out.
And I'd just like to point out that scientifically it's ridiculous to kill them that way. Like, how sensitive is their temperature range that turning down an AC system of a building will take them down? Like, we ran through this using Oklahoma City as our setting, but it feels like Arizona would have made more sense if they need to be that hot constantly.
Anywho, this is a problem because they hatched and then killed 3 people: Professor Josh Singer, Dr. Jennifer Morganson, and Michelle Oldfish Simmons. Although they didn't eat them for some reason, it even says after eating they will grow and multiply. I don't know how much, and didn't know how much by, so I just turned them into a supernatural swarm, so the same stats, kind of like a swarm of locusts.
Now, how your players know about these worms is up to you and them. Maybe they were told by a friend, or maybe they're some type of police or private investigators, or maybe they're part of a secret society like the Voldekin series. Perhaps they were half passed out in a Denny's and overheard some government suits talking about this and were recruited to keep them quiet. That definitely didn't happen to me last week when I found out about the magma geckos. Perhaps I've said too much.
Now, there are example NPCs to use that are in the adventure, that are meant for the adventure, that is.
Dr. Francis will be helpful since she worked with the victims.
Chris Lawrence is the museum director. He is by the books and will be in their way, chastising them for anything that is strange or odd, or just players being players. They're not the brightest. She can also help new players not do anything too stupid, but I wouldn't hold them up to such high standards.
Yeah. Detective Patrick Egan is the detective in charge. He is stubborn and also by the books.
I chained him into a French alcoholic because Chris Lawrence can fulfill the resident of Resident Brown Nose. Also because in the game, Ares was an FBI agent working for the Department of Extra Normal Affairs, which definitely does not exist. I am not a government suit. If I was with the government, I would be wearing a regular tie, not a bow tie.
Mm-hmm. Now, when we played, I was Agent Bernard Comley. He looked for a job in paranormal investigations after being allegedly abducted by aliens.
I cannot confirm nor deny this.
His hunter class was a flake, so he was all about conspiracy theories, man. His bosses sent him out to Oklahoma, probably just to get them out of his hair.
I cannot confirm nor deny that neither.
While there, he tried to tell anyone who would listen about his asinine theories. He first encountered the death worm, but since he didn't know what it was, he just let it be. Now, apparently everything in OKC is within a 5-minute walk of the hotel, because right down the road there was the courthouse, the police precinct, and a science museum. Yes, it was just called the Science Museum.
Technically, it's the Science Museum of Oklahoma, but most people call it by its old name, the Omniplex.
Well, if we had used that name, it would have made sense, but we just called it the Science Museum. Anyway, when he got inside, Agent Comley decided to tell some poor teenager working there that the Apollo 11 mission was saved by some locals. Yes, Apollo 11, locals. He was then led to the criminology exhibit where the scientists had been killed by the death worms. The model crime scene had become a real one. While looking around, Comley joined the elite group of people to survive being bitten by one of those worms. How did this happen? Well, he was running a very careful observation of one of the creatures, and it spontaneously attacked him.
You put it up to your bare and to your bare face. What did you think would happen, Sherlock? What did you think?
Well, anyway, he was hospitalized for a week after that.
Which is what happens when you take 4 damage, only 4. Or teaching players, this is not D&D. You don't have 100 billion HP.
Yeah, it turns out us people were pretty fragile. That's why we started, waving around sticks to hunt animals with.
Yeah, that's kind of the point of society which we live in.
Yeah. So anyway, by the time Comley got out of the hospital, the whole museum had been overrun with worms. It was then what he knew what he had to do. He had to do something bold, something daring, something completely insane. He loaded up a wagon with bags of ice from the 7-Eleven and charged into the museum to turn down the air conditioner.
Needless to say, the death worms kind of, sort of, maybe or maybe not annihilated him.
Yeah, but not before he snuck into the museum, broke into Dr. Morganson's office to investigate her, escaping through the ductwork, and then charging back inside. Yep, basically a ninja.
In the end, I don't think this is a very good introductory scenario. Any adventure can be made good, even the pre-made adventure in the Fatal book. But this is for new keepers who probably don't know what to do to make it right. They don't tell you how to investigate properly. You're supposed to make it an investigate the mystery check. But new keepers could use the example, but if you ran other RPGs before, especially mystery RPGs before, there was a good foundation of cool monsters that I had never heard of. Also, another tip is if your players try and spill the beans on the supernatural roll, which they probably will, if this happens, I got 2 suggestions. 1, Kelly Morganson goes insane and blows up the place up, meaning the players have no proof. 2, the government pays them off forcibly to make sure they don't tell everyone. Then they blow up the museum and now they have no proof.
Yep, we don't want them spilling the beans. I mean, beans are amazing. Have you ever had beans? You should go eat some beans. This video wasn't sponsored by them or anything, but you know what? We would accept a sponsorship from the bean industry, right?
Yeah, Great Value Beans, sponsor us, Walmart.
Ha.
The link to buy Monster of the Week is in the comments for said video. Oh, I hope you enjoy it, but stick around because we are going to give you the basics of running an adventure, not just for Monster of the Week, but for most systems. Well, we or at least I will do a more in-depth video on this later, but this is our quick guide to running an adventure for very novice game masters.
First, you need to pick a genre. There are tons to choose from, but the easiest ones are generally space, fantasy, maybe even apocalyptic, because people sort of know what these are, and there's a lot of range of possibilities that they can go for. Anything that doesn't make sense in our world can be easily explained in these worlds because they tend to have a heavy sci-fi or magic focus. So you know what? You can use that to have things like teleportation or telekinesis or other stuff that starts with T.
For your first adventure, make a simple goal. For instance, you must defeat the dragon, and then you, depending on how long the adventure is, preferably short, or you add challenges and activities, usually at least one of each if at all possible. Well, challenges are things like combat, mysteries, and puzzles. Activities are little extra fun things that add to the plot, or maybe even not, like tavern earn silly magic items or role play opportunities.
Yep. So, perhaps if you have a space game, the players have to help deliver a shipment of bouncy balls to a far-off planet. Then again, if you want a more serious tone, you could base the game off of the movie Alien from 1979. The crew would need to figure out what this mysterious creature that they've picked up is and how to deal with it.
Where was I? It can help you to play other role-playing games, especially Monster of the Week. If you're playing Monster of the Week, perhaps you can check out Dread, which is a game I did a review for, or D&D, which is the most popular one and kind of horrible for not mystery games, but horror games because they're so powerful. Or Screwball.
I take exception to that.
Screwball Supernatural, which is coming out soon. Not sure how soon is, but it's coming out in due time. We did a live play of that.
Yeah.
If you have a module, but want to play it differently, you can try and apply it to the Monster of the Week rule set, like Curtin from Call of Cthulhu.
Yeah. Also, I take exception to the notion that you can't have a D&D horror game, but moving on. So, like with anything, plan, but don't plan too much, and plan for failure. The more you play, the better you will get, and it's good when you're just starting out to just plan for one session at a time, and this is also a useful mentality if you know that the group isn't going to last very long. Perhaps you're playing with a group from school and you know that finals or a holiday are coming up soon and are going to put an end to that, or maybe it's a summer group that you know is going to end, well, now that school's starting. So take a one session at a time approach, but then maybe figure out a way to link each of the adventures together. So that way you've got something kind of like an episodic TV show that turns out has a grand plan that you totally didn't come up with halfway through the session. You were definitely planning it the entire time. Yeah. And also, don't get discouraged if you can't get a regular group and you just have a bunch of one-shots. I mean, I was playing D&D for over 2 years before I finally found my regular group.
Yeah, and check out your local game shops and whatever. It isn't for Monster of the Week, but D&D Adventures League is great if you don't have a regular group. You can also run games that have like different groups, but one adventure has the consequences for the next adventuring group. That's how I ran an Adventurers League for about a year.
Yep. And also, there is a subreddit called r/LFG that you can check out. That stands for Looking for Group. I used that once to find a group to play with and had a good experience. There
was also our Discord server, or my Discord server, or in various other Discord servers. Well, that is our first video together. I hope you enjoyed it.
It feels like we have left a lot out, and we didn't talk about character creation or go into much detail for making your own adventure.
What are you saying?
I'm saying that they definitely need to check out the second part of this video that's going up on my channel.
You heard him, folks. Hop on over to the Aries 1999's channel for our other video on the subject. We'll be waiting for you there. And I'm looking at you, Bob, and I say that we will know. Oh, if you don't come. Looking at you, Bob.
We see you.
We definitely see you. We'll see you there, hopefully, Bob. Thanks for nothing.
And everyone else, we'll see you there as well. Say hi to Bob.
Bye-bye.